10 Investigates Mike Deason looks into how hundreds of thousands of dollars intended to protect bus riders is being used to promote a tax hike for increased bus and rail service.
Philip lives at the beach and works downtown.
You're watching a Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority feel-good ad that you are paying for as part of a $500,000 Homeland Security grant to PSTA.
It's about this general idea of making the transportation system feel more safe and secure.
PSTA Executive Director Brad Miller says that's what the ads do. But PSTA internal documents and the Homeland Security website say the grant is one that encourages transit patrons to alert authorities if they see anything suspicious. I don't understand how the TV spots do that.
Mike, I understand your question. The DHS program, the public outreach component of it, is more than just about bombs and terrorism and police force.
In my opinion, they've crossed the line. They've abused taxpayer dollars.
Activist Dr. David McCaleb, who publishes the Sunbeam Times blog and is opposing a proposed Pinellas transportation tax called Greenlight Pinellas, says these PSTA ads are in reality promoting the tax.
To learn more, visit greenlightpinellas.com or psta.net.
And that appears to violate a law sponsored by former state senator Charlie Justice.
No government entity should be spending public dollars to advocate, tell voters how to vote on an issue, period.
Federal or state.
Any money.
The people around here know that this money was supposed to be used to educate the public to stop bus bombings, and instead PSTA abused it so they could promote their Greenlight Pinellas rail boondoggle.
And it's hard to argue with McCaleb when you look at these 3 TV ads paid by Homeland Security tax dollars, since the only mention of security concerns is
PSTA cares about her time and her security. Philip knows PSTA is providing him with safe and secure bus service and get them there safely.
nothing about suspicious packages, nothing about terrorists, nothing about bombs. How can that be?
Well, Mike, it's a good question. Mike, I think that's a good question. Mike, I understand your question. Mike, it's a good question.
That's what Miller kept saying over and over and over as he tried justifying the feel-good spots that are paid for with a $500,000 grant and intended to stop terrorism, but are actually directing viewers to the Greenlight Pinellas website.
Mike, I think we feel very comfortable with how the funding was used, and we would welcome any kind of review of that.
We contacted the Department of Homeland Security and asked if it approves of the way the money is being spent, but no one responded. Meantime, the General Accounting Office in this report has reprimanded the Department of Homeland Security for poor oversight and wasteful spending on grants just like this, which are intended for public education on fighting terrorism, but the money isn't always used for that purpose. In the newsroom, Mike Deason, 10 Investigates.
Well, new information tonight following a 10 Investigates report last month.
The Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority was critical of our story, which raised questions about improper spending of taxpayer money. Tonight, as investigator Mike Deason explains, PSTA is now returning thousands of dollars to the federal government.
It is very important that it be looked at.
That's what Congressman David Jolly said in regards to these PSTA feel-good ads paid for with Homeland Security money.
PSTA has professional bus operators.
According to PSTA internal documents, the money was supposed to be used to encourage transit patrons to alert authorities if they see anything suspicious and promote awareness of security issues. I don't understand how the TV spots do that.
Mike, I understand your question. The DHS program, the public outreach component of it, is more than just about bombs and terrorism and police force.
That is what PSTA Executive Director Brad Miller told us when we first questioned the use of Homeland Security money for the ads.
To learn more, visit greenlightpinellas.com.
And critics of a proposed transportation tax, Greenlight Pinellas, like Dr. David McCaleb, insist the ads were a front for promoting the tax.
In my opinion, they've crossed the line. They've abused taxpayer dollars.
But after our story first ran, the PSTA board and Miller blasted us for being off base.
And I've circled what the Department of Homeland Security approved the spending of those funds for.
However, in an email sent Friday morning to the PSTA board, Miller admits Homeland Security never approved the ads, and it was threatening to demand repayment. In the email, Miller says instead of waiting for the demand, PSTA is voluntarily paying back the federal DHS $354,000 that funded the program.
This money was supposed to be used to educate the public to stop bus bombings, and instead PSTA abused it so they could promote their Greenlight Pinellas rail boondoggle.
Meantime, in this email, PSTA Executive Director Brad Miller continues to defend the TV spots. He admits somewhere down the road, Homeland Security would force the agency to return the money. In their speculation, Miller didn't want that happening at the same time voters were going to the polls deciding on the transit tax. Mike Deason, 10 Investigates.
New tonight, shocking emails uncovered by 10 Investigates show that the PSTA plotted to misspend a federal grant to promote its transportation ballot issue. And Congressman David Jolly is calling for Homeland Security to investigate. 10 Investigates reporter Mike Deason joins us live in the newsroom with the details.
Well, Reg, these are pages and pages of emails we obtained through a public records request that shows instead of using hundreds of thousands of dollars of Homeland Security money to make the buses safer, PSTA had a plan to advance its transportation initiative that goes to the voters next month.
It is a bit shocking.
Congressman David Jolly is talking about these emails 10 Investigates discovered showing PSTA CEO Brad Miller was lying when he gave this explanation on how the agency had used a $350,000 grant from Homeland Security.
It's about this general idea of making the transportation system feel more safe and secure.
That's what Miller was saying before he was forced to return the money to the federal government. That happened because our previous stories pointed out PSTA used the money for TV ads to promote an upcoming ballot issue called Greenlight Pinellas, intended to increase transportation.
This organization made a mistake with the handling of that grant.
While PSTA Chairman Ken Welch tried to pass off the misuse of federal money as an honest mistake, the emails show it was intentional. In this email, Director of Marketing Janet Recca explains,
we were able to leverage our federal grant dollars and further Greenlight efforts.
In this email, Miller says of the ads,
they must have the Greenlight logo, and I insist on this and won't approve payment on anything else.
And once again, in an email, Miller is saying,
I know you, Janet, have heartburn about how this grant is being used. We can easily add some stuff about your beloved security.
And these emails show they knew that they were using the taxpayer dollars to do that.
In their words, they say they leveraged the grant money, essentially taxpayer dollars. They leveraged taxpayer dollars to promote Greenlight. That's wrong.
And this was last year. This is not tied to the Greenlight effort that's underway right now.
And while Welch tries to maintain the misuse of federal money is not about Greenlight, that is exactly what it's about. And Jolly is calling for the Department of Homeland Security to open an investigation. Once you get these emails, there is the smoking gun that we always talk about.
Listen, this should be looked at.
PSTA returned the money to the federal government, but in a letter, Homeland Security told PSTA even if the debt is paid in full, the United States does not waive its right to pursue any applicable civil or criminal penalties. And that is what could happen if an investigation is open. We posted all these emails on our website, WTSP.com. In the newsroom, Mike Deason, 10 Investigates.